7 Most Menacing Plane Landings in the World. 2 planes, 1 runway. Among many happenings in the airport, one of them is that the air controllers make sure that their planes is not only under their control but also is at the right path at the right time. No one wants their planes to come approach each other and create a disaster. However, in 2014 a similar incident took place at the Barcelona airport, Spain. Here 2 planes were about to crash. One pilot was told by the air traffic controller that the path was clear for them to land, while on the same path a different plane was crossing. Fortunately, the pilot whose plane was in the air aborted his mission instantly to avoid the collision. The people at the airport said that the space between the 2 planes was enough to avoid any collision, but it doesn't seem like that the pilot felt the similar way. Beach landing. This incident took place in Miami in 2021. An air show was taking place at that time, and a part of the show was a World War II BM Avengers. But things went wrong during a certain flight and the plane crashed the beach while people were in it. The happy ending was that the landing was a success and no one, including the pilot, got hurt. However, that's the bad part about antique items. Most of the time they usually don't work out as they should and can create a huge disaster sometimes. Hard landing on the runway. The Korean plane 777 experienced this incident in Japan. After taking off from Seoul to Tokyo, it was time for it to land. Everything was smooth and perfect until the time of landing approached. Once it landed, its landing was hard and intense. It was so hard that the right axle of the landing came off and the plane couldn't move forward. The footage available on the net says it all. The good news was that no one got hurt during this incident. The passengers had to wait for an hour and a half to get off the plane, which tested their patience quite well. Rough landing. There is a reason why one has to go through the immense amount of training before one can be called a pilot. This training is absolutely necessary for one to understand that one might have to take care of certain situations that they may end up finding themselves in. This Ethiopian pilot found himself in a difficult spot while landing in Miami. While landing, the pilot is supposed to level the ground as much as possible, as it reaffirms a proper and smooth landing as the flight. However, this pilot failed to do so and kept moving back and forth before landing, to such an extent that the aircraft landed on just one set of wheels, though immediately he was able to manage his situation and the rest of the landing well. Cargo bay doors open. If you are thinking you already know what could go wrong while a plane is landing, then this incident makes sure you don't. The plane Aerosucker 737 was attempting to take off from Colombia. After its takeoff, it had to return back for an emergency landing shortly because the cargo bay door opened up. Imagine a vehicle running about 200 miles per hour and suddenly you decide to roll down your windows. What do you think would happen? A fact about planes is that they are pressurized vessels and are securely sealed before takeoff, and the opening of the cargo bay door can affect the plane disastrously. The only thing positive about this incident, ruling out the successful landing, is that it was cargo plane and not a passenger plane. No wheels? No problem. Among the few important things that are crucial to fly a plane, this is one of the most important key for a successful flight: to have proper landing gear. Even if the plane is steady among all, yet the speed is enough for the plane to have a proper landing gear. One plane that was flying from New York to Poland was a perfect flight throughout, however when it was time to land, the landing gear refused to work. They circled the airport for an hour to come up with a solution. After several attempts, when they failed, they finally decided to do a crash landing on the runway. Though all the extra flying had burned all the fuel which could prevent it from crashing it in a threatening manner, but still the risk was too much. Everyone survived and no one was hurt. Stormy weather ahead. This incident occurred in Amsterdam Schiphol Airport in the Netherlands. This landing had to take place when the weather was at its worst. Bad weather always makes things worse in case the plane is already in some trouble, and pilots always avoid being in such situations. This pilot was enveloped in some really violent winds while landing the plane in Amsterdam. The video available online vividly depicts how it's being pushed around as the plane descends to land, which wasn't the best feeling neither for the pilot nor the passengers. Initially, when the plane landed, the wheels were unable to touch the ground, but later on the situation got under control and everything went on smooth. This tenuous situation luckily harmed no one on board.